And welcome again. Nice to see you, all of you. And it's always nice to be back to this forum. Now, today we are going to talk about aura as the human energy field and how it works in our health, healing. Now, let's go to the understanding about us. Reactions at first time. What the aura really means. Every day we keep on meeting some people whom we had not seen before. The first time sights. We instantly like some people while we instantly reject some people. Why does it happen that way? We may never know unless we are familiar with the concepts of aura chemistry. Believe that love as well as hatred happens at first sight only. Most of the time we talk of love at first sight, but we do not mention about the hatred at first sight, which also happens at the first sight. Because basically, this explains why you like some people when they have done nothing good for you, and why you hate some people when they have nothing bad for you. So somewhere it works on the aura level. Now, once we have the aura understanding, probably it will be easier for us to understand. The concept of aura, what auras mean. The human aura is a field of subtle, luminous radiation surrounding us and extending outward from our physical form. Auras are related to the electromagnetic field of the body and serve as a visual measure of our mental, emotional, physical and spiritual states. Everything that we do or think affects the aura. So it is usually in a state of flux, ever changing, based on our mental states and physical health. The aura is also affected by the force fields of the planet and energies of the environment, the force fields of the planet, and the radio frequencies that interpenetrate all forms of matter. The aura is an electronic signature of who we are. Everybody has his own individual characteristics of aura, like a fingerprint. No two auras exactly match each other. Okay. So this is something which is, for example, if this is human body, it is surrounded by certain sheath. Now that sheath is nothing but the aura, and we are going to discuss even more. It is a subtle luminous radiation, and it has a tremendous influence on the human existence. Okay, let's go to the next one. Types of auras. How many auras are there? Auras are nothing but the sheets of the body, as I said earlier. There are totally 6 such sheets which cover the body, and one can say that human existence stays in 7 bodies altogether. They are, besides physical body, this is a physical body. The first is etheric aura. Beyond that, there's an astral aura. Beyond that, there's a mental aura. On the 4th stage, intellectual aura, spiritual aura, and finally, nirvanic aura. And we are going to discuss each one of them separately, so do we understand exactly how they work in our life. Okay. Aura classification of aura healers. The auras are also classified by aura healers on the following aspects: health auras or double etheric, thought plane auras, and the higher auric bodies. When we talk of health auras, we are talking of physical health of the body. Okay, and when we talk of the thought plane areas, we talk of thoughts and emotions where they emerge. The higher auric bodies is even talking about spiritual and nirvanic bodies. They are separate layers. They are separate layers overlapping each other. So as we see from here, each one by one, we expand ourselves. Yeah. Next one, please. The physical auric body, the etheric auric body, and the vital auric body are the 3 parts of the health auras, which directly has an impact on the human health. Next one. The physical auric body, bright white or light blue band from the edge of the skin up to 1.5 inches, sometimes appears as colorless gap between the physical body and the colored auric bodies. This is a physical auric body. In good health, this auric band is bright, velar, and uniform in size as it surrounds the body. In ill health, this band will be seen to bulge radically near the area affected by disease or injury. Now, if this is the shape of the human physical body, exactly matching that shape, about 1.5 to 2.5 inches, this aura covers us. And as long as the aura is covering us, there's absolutely nothing that can go wrong with the body. Okay, but it's a solid sheath. Why bodies get affected? When they directly get exposed to certain negativities and certain sanskaras, certain impurities, and the auras actually stop these impurities to go into the body. They are like a software of our body. Many a times I think we say that if our computer, has many parts, one of them is monitor, which is visible. The CPU normally is not so visible, though it is small, somewhere it is kept in the corner. But what you actually interact with the monitor. And sometimes the monitor says there is something like a virus. And then you call the electronic engineer, the one who knows about it. And have you ever seen what he does about the computer? He doesn't touch the monitor. What he does, he knows exactly because he is a knowledgeable expert. What he does, he goes to the boot sector or CPU Then he will run some antivirus kind of a software, and the same monitor which was showing there's a virus, after some time, maybe half an hour later, shows there's no virus without touching it. It happens many a times. In fact, when I started my ashram in Devruk in 2000, we had one monitor, but which was bulky. Earlier they used to come, and that used to occupy a lot of size, that of shape. What happened is, subsequently I changed it over to the flat monitor. And when I bought the flat monitor, one of the villagers, he was ignorant. He said, "Oh, new computer." I said, "No, new monitor." No, the common man thinks that the monitor itself is computer. So I had to educate him, saying that monitor is not computer. Monitor is only display. Monitor only shows what is happening in the CPU. Because we cannot understand CPU, we don't have that kind of capacity unless it is displayed in the form of graphics or alphabets. So somewhere, when I laughed at him, I realized that even today, most of the medical doctors are making the same mistake. The body is only the monitor. The body only displays what is happening inside. Inside in the sense, not inside the body necessarily, inside the human existence. What is happening in your thought process, what is happening in your intellectuality, what is happening in your emotional process. All that is reflected in the body, and we see the body. And what is medical science today is trying to do is to correct the body. Correcting the body is only a manipulation, not the management. Like, if my monitor shows there's a virus, I can have multiple devices, I can knock off that message. But by knocking off the message, that doesn't mean the virus is gone. All that I can say that the monitor is not showing the virus is there, but the virus will still be there. So unless I access the aura, unless I access the software of it, I'll not be able to attain to that message of virus. So something I think we need to understand. I think we need to be a little more educative on the aura so that we can understand. The etheric auric body, etheric double is an etheric body which is exactly like its physical counterpart in every detail. It is the matrix upon which the physical body exists. Without this matrix, the physical body begins to decay and eventually disintegrate. At the moment of death, the etheric double and its auric emanations carry off the soul energy to other levels of existence in the non-physical world. The span of this body is around 2.5 to 10 centimeters in all directions from the body. So this is the etheric double, as they call it, etheric double in the sense etheric body and another etheric body around that, which actually prevents a lot of diseases. They say any disease before it comes on the body takes at least about 15 days to 3 months appearing on the aura level. If it can be preempted on the aura levels, most of the diseases can be handled without any problem. We can prevent a lot of diseases instead of trying to cure them or heal them. Okay? And this is somewhere what we talk about. The body, normally it is, as a healer, one has to understand that at the moment it comes less than 1 inch, we are all dead. Now, as it starts approaching 1 inch, the aura, I think we should do something about it. Below 1 inch, we cannot survive. The body doesn't really sustain or survive the moment the aura drops down to about 1 inch. And it's easiest way is to find out if we can just take our hands this way, fold our hands, take them away from shoulder to shoulder, and then try to bring it again together. Now, when you try to bring it together, suddenly your hands start repelling at one point of time, because of that electrostatic, that is aura. And that particular, now for example, it is repelling here, that means I have an aura of both the hands together, it's about 10 inches or 12 inches, which means that my body is covered by about 6 inches of aura, which is pretty good. Because generally it is supposed to be 2 to 2.5 inches for a common healthy person. If it is more than 2.5, 3 inches, you are more than healthy. You are actually very healthier in terms of that. And if that can be maintained. And as we saw in one of the first couple of slides, they keep on changing. The auras keep on changing. That's why our moods change, emotions change. As the consciousness moves from one chakra to the other, your auras keep on showing a different kind of traits, different speeds. So that is the aura chemistry in the first one. Why we like some people, why we don't like some people. It is mainly because this says that signals that we are sending out. It is said that in Bhagavad Katha, Srimad Bhagavad, they say Lord Krishna had 50 miles of aura. That means within the radius of 50 miles, wherever he went, the flowers will bloom and the birds will sing, birds will chirp. Now that was the influence of the aura. Everybody has that influence. Some people less, some people more. That's why some people come in front of you, feel extremely happy. And you're overwhelmed. They say that you're overwhelmed. You don't know. There's no logic. there's no intellect. So somewhere that emotions come out in front of certain people because they have that kind of empowering power. Okay, so let us go to the next slide. The vital auric body, beginning at the outer of the etheric body and extending up to 2 to 6 inches and sometimes up to 12 inches. This is unique in that not only does it radiate outwards, it also draws energy inward. This body pulls vital energy from the sun and our surrounding environment and sends it to the physical body and nourishes it. This aura is helpful in diagnosing the severity with which an illness is. This causes the normally straight radiant lines of energy to droop, eventually falling to the innermost portion of this auric body in an often chaotic and matted fashion, much like the wet fur of an animal. If you must have seen during the monsoon, it is very easy to see. The birds, when they get wet, what happens to the feathers? You know, the crow, for example, if you see, I mean, it looks like everything is going in. Same thing happens, you know, like a wetted animal. The vital auric body touches the astral or emotion auric body and expands into it times of high vitality. This is an important relationship because the vital auric body also acts to absorb emotional disruptions, pulling them into the inner layers of the aura and sending them for processing to the appropriate chakra. So this is exactly how the whole mechanism works. Vital auric body is very important, and most of our emotions are formed in this. Emotions are passed on into the etheric body by this particular aura. Is that getting clear? Next one, please. The vital auric body continued, then passes the energy on 2, 3 and 4 chakras where it is lodged in the nearby organs, in this case the heart, stomach, liver and intestinal tract. This energy may begin as simple gas or intestinal cramps or indigestion on the physical plane, and if not heeded could then eventually manifest as serious organ malfunction or even cancer. When our vitality is reduced, we feel run down and tired, appearing as a great reduction in the size of the vital auric body, sometimes shrinking down to half an inch. The brightness deems to be seen. In medical term, your resistance is low and you are likely to have diseases. So when it goes in, actually what it happens is it throws a lot of negativities or impurities inside, and directly it affects the organs like heart, stomach, liver and intestinal tract. You know, this is how the disease actually happens. When they start curling inside, instead of having the energy flowing out, they start curling inside, and that brings a lot of diseases to us. Next one. Thought plane areas, astral auric body and lower mental auric body. And these are the two aspects of thought plane areas. The astral auric body, the first of these bodies is astral auric body. It is usually the largest of the lower auric bodies and creates the ovoid shape usually associated with auras. Now this is something ovoid shape. That means if I bring out this as human being with the limbs and all. Now this is that oval ovoid shape. Now this is something what normally people see as an aura. It's usually the largest of lower. The span of this aura could be between 4 inches to several feet. Now right from 4 inches, depending on your spiritual prowesses and your purity, to many feet, maybe 3 feet at this moment. Okay. The astral auric body is created from the emanation from the astral body, which is where we store our complete past and present life history. Everything is stored here within this particular aura. Okay. Normally we call subconscious mind. In critical situation, the physical symptoms created is pain in the stomach as well as surge of adrenaline and numerous other chemicals being created to get the attention of the brain. The energy is immediately sent to the astral body. Since all experiences are stored in the astral body, these new experiences seek out ones which can compound old images or beliefs about yourself, such as I am coward, etc. All that you have stored in subconscious energy is actually here in the past. And that actually opens up, and many a time that causes a lot of diseases if this is not complete. In fact, and I've just shared some latest information with you, which is not a part of that, but we are working on one research in US now. And I think most of us, including me, are a senior in age. What happens is, generally today you say the two major diseases in the old age are dementia and Alzheimer. Okay, we are working on this. And to the extent that I have the sampling, I have realized that the people who continuously visit their subconscious mind, this is conscious mind and this is subconscious mind. Now the mantras, etc., what we normally chant, always comes from the subconscious. Chant, without seeing. If we are reading, we are doing in the conscious zone. If we are remembering, what actually happens is, it is coming here. We have to visit. Unless I visit my memory, I cannot even chant. For example, if I have to chant Rudra, first thing I will have to understand that this is a Shanti mantra. No? And then I have to chant Om Namaste Rudra Manyava. All that stuff will come, which will happen only when I dig into this. So the whole idea of mantras right from the age-old time is going back and coming, going back and coming. Conscious, subconscious mind continuously. Which actually what happens is the subconscious mind is continuously churned, Amrut Manthan. Activated, churned, loosened. You know the soil, normally the soil, I think we see the crops on the top, but the soil has certain layers. And below these 6 or 8 inches, if it is not loosened, you know the soil will be not fertile. It will be unfertile within no time. So it is to be loosened. And earlier this job was naturally done by the earthworms. Today the earthworms are dead most of the places because of urea. Excessive urea we are using in fertilizer, pesticides. Okay? So actually that used to happen, that used to keep it fertile all the time. Now just replace this with the subconscious mind that we have. And I have seen with a small sample of 20, now we are doing with a higher sample of 100 people with Alzheimer's. All those 20 have realized they never chanted mantras in life, they never chanted anything in their life. They never visited and revisited their self-conscious mind, subconscious mind. No? And at one point of time, it becomes so rigid that even if you try to access your memories, you cannot. The remembering happens here and remembering happens here. But if there is no remembering accessible, you cannot remember. Remembering means memorizing. Remembering means putting it here, storing it here. That is memory. Now, if I have, when we meet to each other, we remember. I remembered you because somewhere your image is stored in my subconscious. And the moment conscious makes it available, I know who you are. But supposing I cannot enter and I have no access to this data, even if you come in front of me, I will not be able to remember you. This is nothing but dementia and at a later stage Alzheimer. So somewhere one has to understand this aura has a large role to play in our memorizing and old age. Okay, next point please. Lower mental auric body shows a person's abilities on the conscious or intellectual level. In a person who has a good command of his or her intellectual abilities, this auric band is bright and white, 4 to 20 centimeters, especially in the region of the head. The band almost always appears to be clear bright yellow in the case of good mental health, pulsing of outward from that sometimes distinct age of the astral auric body. You must have seen many scents, If you look at the head, you will find a lot of halo. That halo itself is an aura of the mental aura. Okay, and this is brighter. The more purities you have, the more in present you live. That is what it exactly happens. Okay, next one, please. The higher auric bodies, the higher mental auric bodies, which are in the intellectual zone, and the higher spiritual auric body. These are the two major ones. Let us talk about the higher mental auric body. The higher mental auric body contains the energies which supplies with our higher mind functioning capabilities. It is our intellectual link with our source. This is where our higher self dwells, supplying information of a broader nature than our brain creates from daily experiences. Also located here is the sum total of universal knowledge, our own tap into the great data bank of the universe. This is where esoteric information is available. Now somewhere you can understand that this is on the top of the head. There is something like a Sahasrara chakra, which is connected to the universe. Now this is our first connection to the universe, And most of the time, how do you know that? You get a first idea here somewhere that is called as a soma. Soma is the cell within our brain. And a soma is, there are 10 raised to 11 somas, they say, which increase with your spiritual prowess, etc. But what they do, there are so many experiences happening at the same time. What we catch is only one. Somanath Shabda has come from that. Somanath, Someshwar. This is the fun. Somaras, basically. This actually, it is called Soma in every language, English, Sanskrit, Latin. So this is one cell which actually is situated, is connected to the Sahasrara chakra. This is where we open to the entire universal knowledge. Are you getting this point? And I know some saint, one saint, he can talk about everything in the world. Anything, atomic science, geography, history, and he's equally proficient in all of this. Now somebody asked him, how does he do that? And he has a beautiful answer. He says, any book, any knowledge that is written, where do we write from? You read a book, where does the thought come from? Where do the words come from? Somewhere here itself. And nobody creates a knowledge. We are all tapping knowledge, putting it in the words. So actually it's an experience of this person, which becomes a knowledge for you because you are taking it in the secondary level. We are all capable of taking this knowledge. So knowledge is everywhere in the universe. The question is, can you tap it? And this is one aura which actually helps you. If it is purified, you can just get all that wisdom, creative intelligence, as Maharshi Mahesh Yogi used to say. You just think what happens to you. Suddenly you realize, many a times you call it premonition. You realize, oh, this is going to happen, it happens. Are you getting this point? One of the simple things I experienced once, I was traveling from US to India, and while going to the plane, there's a corridor. And on the corridor, there were windows. And the windows, you can see a lot of planes standing out on the tarmac. And there were a lot of planes from different countries. Swiss Air was there, Lufthansa was there, American Air was there, Air India was there. And suddenly one thought came to me, for no reason, absolutely no logic there, that there are so many strong airlines of the other countries. Why not Air India merge with Indian Airlines and make one? Actually, I had no rhyme and reason to think that way. And I just left it, and thought came, it's a passing thought. I boarded into the flight, came to India. The next morning I opened the paper, Air India had merged with Indian Airlines. Now this is something, which probably somewhere I got caught. No, it was there in there. Everything happens before it manifests. So somewhere before it manifested, somewhere you got a glimpse. And I was so happy and so shocked at the same time. I said, how did it happen? Sometimes it happens, sometimes when people come in front of you.
Because you think of a friend and you meet.
Yeah, in fact, I'll tell you something which amazing happened in my life once. I was a consultant to one of the offices here in Chowpatty. And I was sitting at my office. My office was at New Marine Lines. Now, the distance between the New Marine Lines is here, Chowpatty is maybe about 5 kilometers, 4 kilometers, whatever it is. So he was in his office. And I had got one assignment from Holland to do this study on the optical lenses, way back in 25 years ago. Intra-optical lenses, and it was not much known about in India. And somebody wanted to enter that field, and I being a consultant, he had given me a task to find out what is the market potentials. And the moment it came to me, see, I'm not from the field of IOL. I'm basically from the field of nuclear science. So, but anyway, we took all these kind of assignments so that I could appoint a right person. We had a panel. And I talked of one person called Mr. Bende. And this person was actually working in this company, which is placed in, as I said, Opera House. Okay. And I thought I should just check up with him, whether he can help me out. Because he was working, he knows the field, he was an expert. So he normally used to hire the experts if the particular project comes. When I phoned, the operator told me he is no longer there, he has left the company and nobody knows where he is. So my way was blocked. So now I had to find something else. Then I knew he was a very good friend of his, was an internal auditor there. So I thought, let me talk, because they were personal friends also. They're nothing related to the profession necessarily. So I'm sure he was going to go. And I just asked him, I said, Mr. So-and-so, I phoned him and said, can you give me the number of this person? For a moment he was stunned. He says, where are you? I said, how does it matter? Where am I doesn't matter. Do you have his number or do you not have his number? I said, why are you asking this weird question? Because this guy also is a close friend of mine. He said, no, you are somewhere in my cabin here. I said, how can I be a cabin? I am not a fly or I am not a mosquito that I can hide. If I was there, you could have seen me. But why are you asking me this question? He says, at this moment, I am actually transferring his number from the card to the diary. And he had written 4 digits out of 7. I said, how can it happen? No, it just happened. And it was not intentional. It was something which happened in this aura level. While he was writing and I was asking him exactly the number which he was transferring. And if you look at the logic, that kind of coincidence to happen, probably 1 in a million times, but it happened. That point of time. Yeah, please. Okay, so somewhere I think everybody has this kind of access, some point or the other. Next one. The spiritual auric body, core of the hair aura, it is called spiritual auric body. It is an unimaginable, radiant, mother of pearl white light. This may be called as an extension cord to the source. It is here that has the highest form of energy is manifested in the physical realm. All that cosmic energy that we use in our earthly life is drawn from this location. It is usually processed as it enters the chakra system at the crown chakra. In case of incarnations like Lord Krishna or Buddha, it is said that their spiritual auric bodies expanded to 50 miles and 6 kilometers respectively. And this is something about Krishna and Jesus and Buddha. But I knew one gentleman, he was a sage, Swami Sampurnananda. in Gujarat. I met him when he was 106 years old. 2 years later, he took Samadhi at 108, and this story goes to 14 years. But I've seen him, wherever he used to be there, in 3 to 4 kilometers, there will be no crime. Yeah, I've seen that. I mean, something which I've experienced with these gentlemen. Whenever you would be there, you could actually smell the sandalwood. Very pure, very pious soul. So this is not a myth. Not because only it is written in mythology of Krishna or the history of Buddha. No, that doesn't mean it doesn't work even today. And each one of us have this ability to impress upon our whole environment. You know, we create environment. We create people in our life. We invite them into our life. You know, in fact, one of the Reiki seminars I was talking about, and I said that during my all these years of life, fortunately, I have not met any bad person in my life. And at the same time, I used to also say that I am not alone. There are crores and billions of people who probably have the same destiny. You know, they never met bad people. But one of the guys in the seminar forum, he asked me, why do we get bad people in our life? And that is the time I had to ask him another question. Why do the pigs and the mosquitoes and the flies come in your life? If there are flies and mosquitoes and pigs around your house, what attracts them? You know, is it you? Because they don't know you. They don't know your Aadhaar card number. They don't know your name. They don't know your destination. They don't know your qualification. They know nothing about you. But still, they come around your house. Why? Because the surrounding of the house that you are created is dirty. It invites them. It invites them. No? The moment you clean this off, the moment you realize and clean this off and make a beautiful flower beds around, what will happen? The pigs will not come. They are not interested because you are not providing them what they want. The flies will not be interested. Who will be attracted now? Butterflies, not flies. No? Makhi nahi aayegi, madhumakhi aayegi. See, this is our choice. To have the flies or the butterflies in our life is our choice. The moment we cleanse our aura around, the surrounding cleans, then the mosquitoes stop coming. They won't be attracted. We all attract the good and the bad in our life, and we blame the world. So somewhere these auras need to be cleansed, and this is a spiritual auric body, which is actually a Reiki, as we normally say. This is the energy flows in the body from this spiritual aura. Okay, next one please. Traditional knowledge on auras are known as koshas or sheets, you know, in Sanskrit language, in the Vedas and all the Sanskrit scriptures. There are 5 sheets normally you talk of. Annamaya kosha, the kosha that made up of food, that is physical and etheric body. Second is pranamaya kosha, which is astral body where the emotions are generated. Manomaya kosha, mental body where the thoughts are generated. Vijnanamaya kosha, that is intellectual body where the ideas are generated. And Anandamaya kosha, that's a spiritual body, you know, which creates that bliss. This is our own nature. And beyond that, as we talked about earlier, there's another aura which is universal aura, which is called nirvanic body, which is common to all of us. We are all connected by the nirvanic body. Like we have one sky. All of us have one sky. Yeah. Yeah.
Somebody relates spiritual body.
No, I'm not talking about
Spiritual body. Annamaya is a physical body.
No, Anandamaya is not. Annamaya is. There's a difference between Anna and Ananda. Anna is the food that we eat, what we drink, in the physical, the material world. Ananda is a bliss. Yeah. Connected to your spiritual body, that is what you are. That is the seat of the soul. No? So somewhere we need to understand we are already covered by these 5 kind of koshas. And the 6th and 7th kosha, as I said, nirvanic body, which is common for all. You know, we all have a common. That's why we are connected, whether we believe or we don't believe. You know, and that is why I think lately we are talking of something like which probably one of these days I would like to come and talk about is the butterfly effect. You know, butterfly effect. Now, butterfly effect means we are all connected. So whatever you do and whatever I do actually affects everybody in the whole universe. And you don't know about it, and I don't know about it, and then there's a problem. That ignorance is a problem. The moment you know, the life becomes celebration. Okay? Vivekananda used to say about, Swami Vivekananda said, that even a small thought generated by you creates a havoc in the whole universe. The problem is we are not aware. We create the whole universe, we spoil it and we make it beautiful. Right? So somewhere types of auras and the influence in human lives, the colors of the aura may glow and radiate with joy and vitality as we maintain a state of blessedness in God, or the colors may become dull, contracted, and stultified when we are gloomy, when we allow ourselves to be depressed, when we complain or see life as less than beautiful. So somewhere you remember that when your aura starts shrinking, you start looking miserable. The whole world looks miserable. Sometimes when you have a fever and something, when you look out, you find everything dull. Not because everything is dull out. The moment your fever goes, the environment comes back again to bright and beautiful. Somewhere it is the inner state which decides the outer experience, right? So appreciation intensifies the aura as the heart emanates a pink and golden sun-like radiance. And at other times, when we put ourselves down or enter into the depreciation of others, the size and radiance of our auras lessen. Holding images and concepts of ourselves and others as less than whole also impinges on our ability to send out auric fields of light energy that bless and uplift. So whenever you appreciate somebody, whenever you talk something nice, automatically your aura flares. And we have done enough experiments about that. Make somebody stand, look at his aura, and ask him to chant something or create a beautiful thought, suddenly aura flares beautifully. Ask that person to talk about negative, suddenly aura starts shrinking. And the shrinking aura means you are going towards the disease, not towards the health. So somewhere we have to choose whether we need to contradict and criticize people, or we need to appreciate and thank people. The moment you are in gratitude, your aura expands. Okay, are you getting this point? So somewhere I think we need to understand, we need to manage. And now there's a science called kinesiology. Kinesiology is a beautiful science which says, and which have been proven, and they are already proven scientifically, that whatever you do actually affects your cells first, and then your muscles, and then your joints immediately. And there are enough experiments on this lately. It's a latest science they call about, which actually explains the whole idea of these diseases within the body. Even they say that even a fruit which is brought to you, supposing it is GMO, nobody tells you about that. They just bring an apple, and the moment the apple is brought, everybody's energy goes down. The moment you withdraw that and bring a fresh apple, organic apple, everybody's energy start building up. Now this is something which happens subconsciously on the aura level. The subconscious level is nothing but your aura level. Now they have found out. I'll give you a simple example, very simple example. You sit with your food when you're eating. Just have the rice and the dal and the sabji, whatever it is. Open one by one and say, no, I don't. Reject. Say, I don't want this. I wanted a biryani. I never wanted a plain rice today. I hate. They say, I never wanted a dal. I wanted something like a palak paneer or something that. And then keep your hand like that after this exercise. Within 5 seconds, you will get a pain here. Within 5 seconds. Okay? The next day, sit with the same kind of food. Accept everything. Say, I exactly wanted this rice. I exactly wanted this vegetable. My God, I love this dal. And keep your hand. 5 minutes also, you will not get a pain. See it for yourself. How it exactly affects your auras, and how it affects your chakras, and how the negativities affect your whole body. So there's something doable in something which you don't do. Are you getting this point? So when you talk negative, you are harming more yourself than anybody in the world. And when you talk positive, the other person may or may not become happy, but you become blissful. So it's all about you. It's not about the others. Okay, next one. Yeah. Feelings, thoughts, diet, and human aura. So it is always important to self-assess, to self-observe. What are we feeling? What energy or mood are we under? How are our feelings, thoughts, let alone our actions affecting others? Are we joyous? Are we in harmony? Are we in balance? Ask these questions to yourself whenever you are alone. Diet has an effect on the aura, but more importantly, what we take in through our eyes and ears and what we think affects the strengths and coloration of the aura. When we put our attention upon God and all that this term represents for us, the spinning of our chakras accelerates and a resonance with the qualities of God begins to cleanse the aura and expand it. Again, simply when you watch the TV news, when they're so aggressively debating, go and measure your blood pressure. Actually, your blood pressure goes up just by observing, you are not a part of the debate. But something which happens there, without really getting interacted, without getting related to that, still it affects your human aura. So somewhere we need to be very careful about whom we meet, what we see, what we hear. Everything affects your aura. And whatever affects your aura affects your health. Okay, so aura is a major ingredient for your health. Next one. Aura photography is now Kirlian photography is an established technique to record auras, because a lot of time people thought, oh, aura is subjective. No, because aura is non-linear. What we understand from the mind is linear stuff, and aura is non-linear. So whenever people say, oh, I want to see aura, unless I see it, I will not accept it. It's like asking somebody to show the darkness. You cannot show the darkness. The moment you switch on the light, the darkness goes away. So somewhere one needs to understand that you need to have different kind of equipment like aura photography, invented by Soviet husband and wives Semyon and Valentina Kirlian. That's how it's called, Kirlianography. Some 60 years ago, the photographic techniques utilize a high frequency spark generator and the usual film and paper to produce remarkable images of what they call bioplasmic energy. When organic or inorganic matter is placed on the plate electrode at the spark generator is switched on briefly, an image is formed on the film. Later, Soviet researchers discovered that if they placed a leaf taken from a plant or the plate electrode and removed half of it, the leaf appeared whole in the photograph. The energy the leaf was emitting was not affected by the amputation of part of it. This may help to explain phantom hand or leg phenomena. This syndrome is experienced by amputees for varying periods of time after an arm or leg has been removed. Amputees report feeling pain or example in the toe of the leg that has been removed. So this is something which has always foxed the medical science today. Now, a lot of time they realize that when the amputated arm is not there and the patient comes and complains that there's a pain, and they don't know how one can get a pain when the actual arm is not there. That is what this explains. That is what explains. That's what we said, that even the leaf is cut and photographed, the leaf appears full, leaf doesn't appear half. And thereby probably I think we'll have to go to the but Lord Krishna said that Nainam Chindanti Shastrani Nainam Dahati Pavaka. He's not talking the body, because body can be cut, body can be burned, body can be dried, body can be wetted. What is not wetted, what is not dried is your aura. It is free from all that. It is never cut. So even if the body is cut, even if there is no particular organ within the body, on the aura level, the organ still exists. And that is something I was reading somewhere, and I don't know what happened ultimately to that. Now the latest thing that gynecologists are facing a problem, wherever even the uterus is removed, and the lady starts getting the symptoms of menstrual cycle, then they are foxed, because the uterus doesn't exist. How does one has the menses? Now somewhere now they have got to go to the aura level to find out, because the answer probably lies in aura. So this can be photographed. Now there are enough photographs available. Next one. A typical aura photographic equipment looks like this. Next one, please. Aura photograph taken with aura camera, so you can see those colors and how it goes around us. Next. The aura in healing. In energy science, it is believed that any disease before it appears in the body comes to the etheric aura at least 3 days and sometimes more than 1 year earlier. If one can correct the auras at that time, one can be free from all physical sufferings called as diseases. In fact, what I was going through, the Russian technologists have come out with a new technology on aura, and they claim that they can predict in the next 5 years what disease is going to come to you. And probably you can be prepared for that kind of diseases to come. Here we are talking of 1 year maximum. Repetition of lessons not learned causes a buildup of disharmonious energy in our physical cells. The vibration rate of the cells become out of harmony with the surrounding cells. Defense mechanism of the body begin their attack on the disharmonious cells. Because the cells, the weight of the cells start growing because of the sanskaras or the impurities or the imprints or the impressions of the past. And those cells do not vibrate to the same frequency, and there's a lot of disharmony between the cells. And that causes most of the diseases. Okay. The auras in healing. The first 2 aura photos are of sick people, the third one of the person doing Reiki regularly. So you may see the differences. Now this is what the Russian scientists had found out. Okay. Now this is where you can see how the aura is depleted in between, and this is what the photographs are. Okay. Aura treatment. There are a number of aura treatments. Auras can be treated. There's something like aura loosening, something like aura cleaning. There are surgeries and other advanced aura treatment. The aura science has already forwarded itself quite fast. Aura loosening. This is a primary method of aura treatment, when one can just loosen the feathers of the aura and reset them. The basic thought is that when the aura becomes stiff and does not flow easily, one falls sick. Loosening and restoring the flow of aura to its normal conditions is what is achieved in this. It can be done in any sickness to make patient feel rejuvenated, most effective in cases of comatic conditions, and generally give very good results. So some of the cases that we have handled where the person was in coma, and if the aura is loosened, the person comes out of the coma. Because the coma, what does coma mean exactly? Let us try and understand what life means with respect to auras. So this is the body, as I said, that you earlier, and this is the aura flowing around. Now there's a continuous flow. The energy flows through the aura, and as long as it is consistent and continuous, we are all healthy. That is the first stage. There are waves. When we say I'm feeling ebullient, I'm feeling very energetic, I feel very light, if I like very energetic kind of stuff, that means your aura is like a wave. It is moving with a tremendous frequency, and that's why you feel energetic. The second condition you can say is when you are sleepy, you are lethargic. What it actually means is aura is flowing, but now it is flowing slowly. It is not a wave, it is a stream. Like now we are in the monsoon, so we know very well there are 4 conditions of rains. Now what are the first condition? Dhuadhar barish, downpour. And what happens is continuous the streams. The second one is rimzim. Rimzim means drizzle. It is drizzling. It is not as strong as this. This is what happens when it drizzles. We feel sleepy. The third one is what we can say drop by drop. So it is not exactly. It is not technically a rain, but it is at the same time it is a rain, all right, because water is falling. So this is third one, which we call as what we can say coma. So coma is actually neither a death nor a life. It is not qualified as a life because the flow is not there in the real sense, but it is not qualified as a death also because the flow is there. The drops are there, so we cannot deny. And the fourth one is death. When our aura does not flow at all, everything comes to standstill. Aura is rigid, doesn't move. Aura is there. Death. No rain. No rain. Like what we have today. No rain. No rain. No rain is there. I mean, as far as the aura is concerned, I'm just giving analogy. Don't say that when we are not all dead. But if it doesn't rain for 3 years, we are all dead. Are you getting this point? So somewhere it should rain. No, but this is only an analogy. This is how exactly the 4 frequencies of flow. No, this is absolutely downpour like. This is like a drizzle. This is like a drop by drop, and this is no flow at all. The aura is there, but it's static. It's a static. It's not pulsating. And life is not static. Life is dynamic. That's why exactly. Yeah, but aura is there. Aura is just static. It's frozen. It doesn't move. And the life is nothing but movement. Yeah, for example, I tell you what is human body made up of as per the medical science. One is they say chemicals. The second they say cells. Third they say tissues. Fourth they say what organs. Fifth is what? What is something missing? Organisms. And sixth is body. Okay, these are the 6. And this is as per the standard MBBS, first MBBS book. Okay, and this is where exactly we have a dispute with the doctors. When we ask them, in a dead person, are chemicals there or not? They are there. In the case of a dead person, the cells are there or not? They are there. In the cells, a dead person, the tissues are there or not? They are there. In the dead person, organs are there? Yes. Organism is there? More than required. Body is there? Yes. Then why is he dead? If all these, what you qualify as the characteristics of life, the flow is not there. The chemical is there but not flowing. The air is there but is not flowing. So it is not qualified for a breath. Stagnated air cannot be called as a breath. Stagnated water, stagnated chemical, there's no life. The life is nothing but flow. The moment the flow ceases, we are all dead. The moment the flow is full, we are all alive. Are you getting this? So somewhere the auras make a lot of sense. The second one is aura cleansing. This is more advanced. Earlier what we thought is aura cleaning, aura loosening. No, aura is like this, like the feathers. Aura is like the feathers. As I said earlier, the wet crow, as we see in the monsoon, in the rains, it's like this. It's drooping. It's all feathers coming together inside because the density is more now because of water. And this is what happens exactly because of our impurities, sanskaras, negativities. We start drooping in. They start getting entangled, these striations. Okay? And the moment we do that, we are all feeling lousy, sleepy. That's what happens in coma. This even here, it doesn't flow because aura is there, but it is not conducive for the flow to happen. So when aura loosening, what we do, we just loosen them. We just separate them, disentangle them from each other, and again the energy starts flowing. That is the reason why we say aura loosening is extremely good, especially when you feel absolutely weak. Sometimes you feel fatigued. Sometimes you come home and you feel you have no energy left. That means actually aura is going into this kind of zone. So there are 2-3 issues to be done. One thing, immediately take bath with the salt water, sea salt. That loosens the aura to a great extent. Or get your aura loosened through somebody. When these are the things done, again we come back to our energetic state. That is the fastest we can do. That's why even if somebody is sick for long and he doesn't have much energy, give him a salt water bath. Be consistently for 7 days, and suddenly you'll find a lot of rejuvenation happens in the aura there. So auras can be corrected in so many ways. Bath is something bad. I'm talking of something. No, sorry? No, have a bath, complete bath with salt. What happens? No, but what happens with a salt water bath? Then why do you need alternative? No, don't have only one bath. Only one bath. In your bucket, 1 bucket full of water, put 1 fistful of salt, mix it up and take bath.
Any special salt?
Yeah, it is a sea salt. Khade meat, what we say. Khada namak. Not the iodized salt. Iodized salt probably is only iodine. It is not a salt. They only iodine. There is no salt. There is no sodium. And it's the sodium which makes a lot of difference. Are you getting? The next one is aura cleansing. This is even little tougher, more advanced technique taught after a healer reaches an advanced state of consciousness. Here the aura of the patient is combed with the help of salt water and cleansed. It gives dramatic results, though one has to manage this well to avoid any contamination fallouts. And I'll give you one simple example. It happened around 1999. I had one case which came to me. A lady after delivery, she delivered a baby, and through the cesarean, C-section. And normally what happens, they cut it and then they stitch it. And normally those stitches, nowadays, they're dissolvable stitches. They get dissolved. But even after a few days, they realized the wounds were not getting healed. They used to keep on breaking. Then they used the earlier sutures, the conventional sutures, because they thought probably the sutures do not suit her skin. Even then, continuously for 4 months, there were 4 pockets, into the into the wound. And the doctors did not understand what to do. They said it is probably 1 in a million case, so the skin is not getting joined again. Otherwise, naturally it does. It's a natural property of the skin. And then myself and one of my colleagues were invited to just visit her. She had already visited 10 hospitals and nothing could be done. And while we were working on her aura, suddenly we realized there are 4 potholes like what we have the potholes in the road. There are potholes in the aura. There are holes. So what we had to do is actually we had to fill up and patch it again using this aura cleansing. And you would be surprised, we had a bowl of salt water. How does the salt water look like? Turbid. Turbid, whitish, little grayish. When we combed aura and sprinkled our hands in front of the doctors, it became absolutely black, tar black. So can you imagine what was there on the aura? And that was her turning point. Next day she was sent back home. 4 months she could not handle her own baby. Right from I think April or March into July. And this happened in July. She went home and thereafter the wounds never opened. They tried to give her radiation, gave her light and everything, but nothing worked because everything was happening in the aura level. And unfortunately the medical science did not have much idea about the aura level. Even today, there's nothing like aura diagnostics. And many a time the couples come to us saying that the doctor said everything is fine with them, but still they cannot conceive. And that is the time we realize everything is fine with respect to the that diagnosis that we have, the instrument that we have, but something is wrong with the aura. But nothing is found in the body, one has to look into the aura. And the moment you correct aura, there are at least about 20-25 cases that I know, they have conceived. So when the doctor says physiologically nothing is wrong, but still the baby cannot be conceived, that is the time one has to look, and that gives a lot of hope to the couples, young couples. So somewhere that we need to understand, aura cleansing is a very, very interesting, and that's why, but it is little, no, basically that's what I'm saying, what we threw into that water, there are a lot of dirt, and it is a transferable dirt. If the person cannot handle, probably his aura will get contaminated. Yeah, we picked up and threw it there. But supposing a novice puts in on him, probably he will get caught with some kind of negativities. So somewhere this is very rarely used at the very advanced level. Unless one is absolutely familiar with the technique, one cannot do it. Other advanced aura treatments, aura surgeries, extremely difficult and as risky as possible. The physical surgeries, one has to be extremely careful in such surgeries, and this can be performed only by few who have, sorry? Yeah, some people call it a psychic surgery, some people call it. In fact, in Britain, it is recorded that there was a gentleman called Walter Chapman. He was a fire brigade officer, and he lost his daughter, which was 3 years old, and he became mad, he lost his interest in the life, and then he learned the spiritual techniques. And for 45 years, he used to operate people on aura level for eye diseases. And 100% of the time he achieved success. And this story is 1950 to 1995, 45 years. So the aura surgeries are very special techniques, basically with the idea that, as I have been saying right from the beginning of this, we are not the body. Body is only the monitor. The auras, the actual original organs are on the aura. What we have on the body is only a copy. What Krishna says in Gita, Urdhva Mula Madas Shakham. Now, Urdhva Mula means humans are the only one whose the roots are out. Roots are out, and the body, the stem, is on the earth. That is we. In case of plants and animals, their roots are under the tree, under the earth, and the branches are in the sky, in the open. We are exactly opposite. Urdhva Moolam Adas Shakham. So this body is actually a branch. It is not the original. So somewhere the basic is here. All our organs are basically here. So taking this organ, which is absolutely in the pure state, like stem cells nowadays talk. So anybody who understands stem cells probably will understand aura treatments much easier. Now stem cells are the purest form of cells which are preserved, which used to be preserved in India earlier. आपण मराठीत म्हणायचो नाळ पुरली आहे का, नाही का? So actually that was that fact. Then people started laughing at us, we stopped the practice. Now there are enough umbilical banks or the stem cells bank in America where people have to pay $25,000 per year. And now people have accepted as science. When we used to do it, people used to laugh at us. And we were using below the earth, using certain spices and certain like turmeric and all to preserve it so that it never got damaged. But probably I think we lost that science because everybody started telling in the world, yours is primitive, it's not science, it's blind faith. Now somewhere the whole world has turned back again to the same thing, now they have found out. So similarly, aura is our original organs, original form. So you can always pick up from there, use it as a transplant, but that's a different and very deep subject. Other aura procedures like eye, neck, back, foot, soul treatments are done which help normalize many health conditions. So most of the time you'll find that this is something which happens at this. This is the X-ray photograph, and this is this is before, and there's a difference of 1.5 inches between the two bones, and this is after 4 hours. Aura surgery is performed, and this man's within 4 hours. No, not even within 4 hours. This photo was taken at 3:30. This operation was done at 7 o'clock, 3.5 hours later. 8 o'clock they took the X-ray and they found everything is connected. Yeah. So it happens instantly. How did it break? How much time it took to break? Yeah, arthros took 3 weeks. In fact, I just came from one place and this gentleman was telling me he had a problem with his little finger. It got broken. So they had to mend. And they did a lot of diagnostics here. And he spent 25,000 rupees only on diagnostics. And finally, doctor said, you have to put screw and this and that, which he was not willing to do. He went to Germany, and one guy was the orthopedist there. He says, you don't need anything. He said, just hold it tight, and it became all right. So German doctors can do it, because Germany, they don't charge too much. Germany, because I think the medical education possibly, that's what I understand, is free. So they don't look it as a commerce. They still look it as art and science. We have started looking as a commerce. Every patient has become a commercial opportunity for us to earn. Are you getting this point? So somewhere I think one can do, this is what it is, and this is not only one. This is one of the things I'm showing. In fact, in Surgeons Association of India, I had a meeting with them 2013. 60 top surgeons of India were there in Rajkot. And I showed them almost about 15 different slides before treatment and after aura treatment. And I showed them the x-rays, I showed them the MRIs. Now x-rays is something I don't produce at home. They are from their own x-ray laboratories. And I gave them about 1.5 hours presentation, and they were stunned. I said, now you find out how it happened. I have no knowledge. The person who searched cannot do research. The science should do research, and the spirituality should do research somewhere. But unfortunately, the doctors told me they have no time to research. And I think we have discussed that before. When the research stops, the science stops. Okay? Science is dynamic phenomenon. Questions and answers on aura, let us see quickly. What does the aura look like? Auras are generally seen in cross section, much like the layers of an onion that has been sliced down the middle. Each layer tells us something different about the person that one is viewing. The first 3 inner layers represent health matters and personality. The outer 2 layers are indicators of what is going on within the mental and emotional life of the person. The auric bands are translucent and colorful, appearing much like the colors in a rainbow, only more subtle in intensity. These colors may vary individually. So if somebody really says that I saw this color and that color, it's actually a myth. All that you can normally see is a white or a gray. For example, if I'm looking at this person, I'll see a white sheath around, white line, fine line. Then I know this person is absolutely healthy. But supposing there's some dip here, some gray color here, then you know there's something seriously wrong, either with his throat or with his shoulder. Now, the easiest way to diagnose only by looking at it. And the trained eye can easily find out where there's a contamination, where there's grayishness. But the colors, actually, what people see generally do not exist. I mean, they're so fine to be seen by the normal eyes. And even on computer, they do a lot of things. But that is a calibration. That's also a calibration. That's not the actual colors. They create colors. So somewhere, don't look for too many of the colors. If it is white, fine. If it is gray, something is wrong. If it is black, something is definitely wrong. So there are certain thumb rules one can use. Now sometimes there are depressions in the aura, like the aura will go down. Everywhere else it will be like that, will be depressed. And sometimes there are inflation like this. So both are bad. Wherever there is a swelling, you will find this. And wherever there is a decay in the organs, you will find this. So somewhere this needs to be corrected, brought down, correct. There are methods to mend your auras. So somewhere, next one please. How does the eye perceive the aura? There are some 137 million receptors, 7 million cones and 130 million rods in each eye. Some of these receptors, the cones are for focused vision. These cone-shaped receptors are the origin of the color vision. The other type of receptor is called the rod. Rods are the most prevalent in the outer regions of the receptor field. They are the most sensitive as their intensity levels of light are reduced. They are the source of our ability to see in the dark. Rods are the receptors for our peripheral vision under conditions of low light. The rods are coated with a substance called rhodopsin, visual purple. It is with peripheral vision in low light condition, the rods perceive aura. That's why it takes some time. When you enter into the dark, immediately you don't see anything. For first 5 to 10 seconds later, you start seeing certain, because that rhodopsin start covering the rods. And the rods are very essential for seeing the auras, because they see into the light or no light condition, dim light or no light condition. But the cones are useless when it comes to aura. And somewhere they are trying to work out, if somebody is spiritually elevated, probably has more number of rods than cones. So they can see certain things. Some people have the ability to see beyond normal vision. So that is because of the game of between rods and the cones. Yeah, next one. Can anyone see auras? It is believed that as small children we were able to see auras on the conditioning of the civilization. We lose this talent. Most of the people can be trained to see auras. If you see the small child, maybe 6 months or 8 months old, is lying, and you go and try to pick up, sometimes he cries with some people. With some people it smiles and easily comes. When you look at the child, he doesn't look at your face, he looks at above the face. From your aura he understands whether you're good or bad. That's his own diagnosis. And the aura never lies. The face is scanned. No, you are showing that you're smiling, but the auras will exactly show what you are. In fact, they have found out, the psychologists have found out, the small child when he's 3 or 4 years old, when you ask him to draw a person, he draws exactly the way I'm drawing with the sticks. And then if he has got the colored chalks, what he will do, he will draw rainbow around. Because actually he's seeing this. But when the teacher or the parent says, hey, what are you drawing? There's nothing like that, he drops it. And that is where he stops using his ability to see the auras. But small children are extremely good in seeing auras. Ladies, they are extremely good in seeing auras. That's why ladies can just look at a person and get an X-ray saying that this person is good or bad. But we don't take them seriously, that's another issue. But ladies have this uncanny sense of reading the auras. Somewhere they are not nurturing that. If they nurture, probably they will be in a better shape. Yeah. Is there anyone without aura? The absence of auric light around the body represents impending death. Possibly aura is still there, but just too dim for one to see. As I said, below 1 inch, you hardly see. So the aura would be there, but not pulsating. And unless there's a pulsations, because humans can only see the movement. That is why we cannot see the space. We can see the wind. We can feel the wind, because there's a movement. So somewhere that's our limitation. Next one. How does the baby's aura look like? A baby's aura is very simple and uncluttered as compared to adult aura. There appear to be only 3 bands around newborn as compared to the 5 bands in the adult's lower auric bodies. In the first few days, the baby's aura seems to trail off the top of the head. The adult aura, on the other hand, is rounded at the top because their top is still open. हम बोलते हैं ना उनकी तालू जो होती हैं, टॉप जो होती हैं, भर लेली नहीं, because it is actually open. No, they are still open. They are not fully formed. So somewhere this upper chakra is not closed. That's why the aura will always look like this, splitted aura. But in case of the gent, in adult, it will be something like round, as I said about the oval shape, because of that. Yeah, that's right. That, haath laal. Yes, that is the main reason, because it takes some time to settle down. Because he's just entered into the body and it takes some time for him to seal. He does not lose his contact. That's why many a time they smile in the sleep. They cry in the sleep. Actually, they are going through the universal experiences, which we are not. So we cannot relate with them. And most of the time we say, oh, because of gas they are crying, or maybe some stomach pain, or maybe something else, hunger. But because we cannot understand, they are going through some experiences because they have a dual life. They are here, but still they are connected there. So that takes some time for them to settle down. Next one. Do animals have aura? Yes, as well as trees, rocks and tables. Almost everything has some kind of light emanating from it. All things in the physical plane have activity on the atomic level, that is electrons, neutrons, protons, neutrinos, quarks, etc. are very much alive and active in matter. Perhaps the emanations from inanimate matter come from this type of activity. Animals such as domestic pets have rather simple auric bodies, 2 or 3, often bright light blues and greens like the auras of babies. So this is what normally they see. They have everything has aura, but some have the pulsating aura, some have the flowing aura, and some have static aura. So somewhere we need to understand these 3 things. Next one. How to strengthen aura? The aura is also extremely affected by emotional and mental states, more than most people realize. Continued stress, emotional trauma, mental disorders or imbalances, upheavals, worry, fear and other negative emotions and attitudes weaken the auric field. A weakened aura results in energy drains and physical health problems will begin to manifest. Sunlight is strengthening to the auric field. So sunlight is very essential. Normally they say 1 hour in a day you should be under sunlight. I think most of the time we are not in sunlight nowadays, and that could cause, that could probably explain a lot of disease that we are going through. How to strengthen aura? So is physical exercise. Fresh air is extremely vitalizing to the aura. Eating less food but more frequently has a more balanced effect upon the aura. Keeping the bowels clean assists in keeping the aura strong and resilient. Meditation is also strengthening and protective. Music can also be used to balance and strengthen the auric field. Fragrances can also be used to protect and strengthen the auric field. We can also use the smoke and fragrance of various herbs to cleanse the auric field of the environment. There is something like a sage, white sage, which is used. Then there's something like salt, I think, extremely good cleansing agent for the auras. Okay. Next one. How aura is weakened? Poor diet, lack of exercise, lack of fresh air, lack of rest, stress, alcohol, drugs, tobacco, negative habits, and improper psychic activity. So all these actually reduce your auras. Next one. Preventing yourself from being drained. This posture closes off the circuit of energy, touching thumbs and index fingers of thumbs, also fingers while legs are crossed at ankles. Stop your energy from being sucked off by the other. So this is the way you can protect your energy. Sometimes when you're in the midst of the people, you start feeling irritated and all because your aura is being eaten up. Like the mice eat the stuff around, like the cloth, they start eating. The next time you encounter your friend who drains you, assume this posture. Simply rest your hands casually on your lap, touch your fingers and cross your ankles. It is casual and simple and no one will suspect you of anything. So it is the easiest way. When somebody takes this posture in front of you, remember that that person knows something about aura. You can do it when you want to protect yourself. How have auras been talked about in ancient times? Mundaka Upanishad talks about it as there is an aura around the knower of Brahman which reaches some distance according to the intensity of the realization. It may be some feet, some kilometers, or even longer distances. The light of the Atman emanating from within into longer distances outside the body is called the aura of a person. The radiance cannot be seen with the eyes, and those effects can be felt. Like gravitation, you don't see it, but effects can be felt. So somewhere that person will always look very happy, healthy. Next one. Now this is something about Raghavendra Swami. 3 astrologers met Raghavendra Swami and saw his horoscope to find out how long he would live. One of the astrologers said 100 years, another astrologer said 300 years, and the third astrologer said 700 years. The saint who was present while this discussion was taking place said that all 3 astrologers were correct. For 100 years his body will last. For 300 years people will read the works written by him. For 700 years your aura will be felt around the samadhi. This is the great proclamation of the sentence of. So we die in stages. No, we don't die totally. Next one. And that is, thank you.